just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if it's sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 82. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benezowitz, and here we are again. A week without Knicks and Nets, but we're inching closer and closer. And I promise you, one of these days, we'll be talking about the games. Maybe sooner than you think, people. Look at the calendar. It's coming, and I'm really excited about it. You can find this podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever else you get your podcast. And if you want to see the video version with us smiling like this, check it out on YouTube and type in Bad Weather Fans. Alex, we got some Giants, we got some Jets, we got some trivia, and we got Frank Ntilikina going to the Dallas Mavericks. How the hell are you doing?
I'm doing great. The irony, maybe it's irony. I don't know if it's irony, but like Mavs fans have been trashing Ntilikina for all these years and like laughing at the Knicks for taking him. And then Dennis Smith Jr. is traded for Porzingis, who Porzingis now is not a max contract player. And then fast forward a couple of years, now you have Ntilikina and Porzingis. So they're basically the 2016 Knicks with Luka.
That's
like,
crazy.
I'm just kidding. They have Hardaway too. So like, it's just hilarious.
Right?
So like they're I think it was 2016. Maybe I'm messing up my years. Whatever. Don't kill me. But it's that old Knicks team with Hardaway and Porzingis and Ntilikina, and those are going to be your players. And you have Luka, and I know you have a couple other players and whatever. But who's their coach now? I know Carlisle's gone, right? Who's their coach? I forgot.
He's a former Net. He is really good at passing the basketball.
Oh, Jason Kidd.
Yeah. You know,
really?
You know who one of the assistants
Why did I forget that? Yeah, well, Michael Finley's running the team now, right?
You know who's one of the assistants for the Dallas Mavericks?
I do not.
One of the Nets all-time greats. That's not a Net all-time great. He's a recent Net.
Jason Williams. No,
Jared Dudley.
Jared Dudley. Classic Nick and Net. We should get him on the podcast.
Jared Dudley wasn't a Nick.
Jared, I'm saying Chris Dudley. I see you said I heard Dudley.
What
I'm
is going
Chris
Alex, Jared
I'm a mess
Dudley
today, bro. See,
you are a mess. Your hair. Usually you got your hair gel. Usually you have your hair gel in.
Put the hat on. It gives me the powers.
Super sexy.
Well, no, there's no gel tonight.
Jared Dudley, all-time Net.
Jared Dudley. I heard Dudley, and I don't know why. Jared Dudley is so irrelevant to me. That's why I kind of just like forgot about him completely. I heard Dudley, and it just clicked like, oh, Chris Dudley, because Chris Dudley was a Net and Nick. So I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That's a good reference. And then it's not, whatever.
But it makes sense, Jared Dudley, because he was a player under Jason Kidd in Milwaukee when Kidd was the head coach of the Bucks. So I'm sure there's a good relationship there. And then Dudley being the savant that he is and the cerebral person and player. Why are you laughing? That you know that he was going to be a coach at some point. But yes, you're right. The Dallas Mavericks look like the Knicks now.
He's been a player coach the last couple of years anyway, Jared Dudley.
True.
It's pretty much what he's been. And, good for him. Like he's, good for him. He's got a job. That's good for Jared Dudley. But no, I just think it's funny. It's a Ntilikina. I'm just happy that saga is over with the Knicks and it's officially it's not official, but Mark Stein reported the Mavericks have emerged as the likely next destination for former Knicks guard Frank Ntilikina. League sources say this is at 10:20 p.m. on September 14th. And says Dallas is expected to sign Ntilikina in coming days. League sources say after the Mavericks were widely expected to draft him in 2017, Ntilikina went number 8 overall to the Knicks. Dallas expected Dennis Smith Jr. at 9. So the 2017-2018 Knicks are with the Mavs now, not 16. I apologize, but that's it. So it's kind of funny to me. So I'm, it's enough. It was enough. It was enough of him. It's over. It was too much sizzle and not enough spice, if that makes sense. Like it's too much like interaction, conversation regarding him. It was just like enough of this guy. Like I keep talking about this on the podcast, but I'll say it again. Like for the last few years, I'm like, I thought he'd be better than he was. I'd take the L on that, but I didn't think he'd be this bad. I thought at his floor was at least like a Bruce Bowen or like a James Posey type player, not, the end of the bench of the Mavs and potentially back in Europe in 2 years. You know what I mean? So it's just, I was surprised by that. And I always said that if he was on a good team, he'd play a major role. But then this year, the Knicks were a good team, and he got DNP'd consistently healthy scratches. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I cannot wait to see him kick some ass in Dallas, and I will be rooting for Frank Ntilikina to be an unbelievable player in Dallas. And I'm looking forward. Like, I have fantasies, Alex. Let me be honest. Hey, Knicks fans, do you listen to this podcast? Bad Weather fans, this is the Nets fan talking. This is the Net fan. I cannot wait for Frank Ntilikina kicks it out. Reggie Bullock for 3, and Dallas goes up 12. I'm looking forward to that pairing to be unstoppable. And Jared Dudley giving just some incredible advice. And I'm looking forward to that pairing just dominating the Western Conference. Like, in my opinion, I don't think there's a better backcourt in the NBA than Frank Ntilikina and Reggie Bullock with, of course, Porzingis. We all know how good he is and what he can bring to Dallas. But in all seriousness, I will be intrigued to see if he can revitalize his career a little bit. And I do think for anybody that's had some issues and obviously high expectations as the 7th pick of the draft, now you're going to another spot. Can this help him, change the narrative on his career? And I don't think he's going to be an all-star, but can Frank become a good rotational player? I'll be curious to see if change of scenery helps him out. Just like it was for a lot of Knicks, Julius Randle coming to the Knicks, how much that helped and changed his career. Not saying it'll be the same, but a change of scenery can go a long way with a guy that does have some potential.
Right. But on the flip side of that, it could be Dennis Smith Jr. He left the Mavs, came to the Knicks. It wasn't very good. Had some flashes, for the Mavs, more flashes with the Mavs than with the Knicks. He had a few games with the Knicks that he was okay, but ultimately he was a dud. And then he went to the Pistons for Derrick Rose in one of the best trades in Knicks history. Like, let's be honest, Derrick Rose for Dennis Smith Jr. in a 2nd round pick. Like, I mean, come on. Like, that's just like, not that Derrick Rose is an MVP Derrick Rose, but he's a major rotational piece and he was re-signed. And Dennis Smith Jr. is on a tryout contract with the Lakers. Like, he didn't even get a guaranteed contract. He got an invitation to training camp like he's a AAA player in baseball. Like, he got a spring training invite. Like, that's what he got. But now the Mavs have Trey Burke, they have Tim Hardaway Jr., they have Kristaps Porzingis, and they have Frank Ntilikina eventually. That's kind of crazy. So I didn't even realize I'm a little behind, man. JJ Redick is on the Mavs too. That's pretty interesting. So, but who cares?
He was on Dallas last year. Did he officially re-sign there?
I'm looking at just 2020, 2021 roster. I don't know.
Wrong.
I'm just looking at basketball reference. It might not be updated altogether, but yeah, I whatever. It is what it is. I'm just like all over the place tonight. So I'm exhausted. Bear with me, but I'm fighting through here. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm glad you brought up JJ Redick because he's got a podcast out. Yes. And he had Blake Griffin on the pod. And I enjoyed that conversation.
And he's on the Nets, right?
Blake Griffin is on the Nets. Yeah, he is.
I'm kidding, everybody. I'm kidding.
Are you?
Yes.
And they talked about that crazy alley-oop dunk play they had where he had the behind the back pass, off the backboard, the dunk. And then they referenced because they were playing the Cavs who have Jared Allen, who's a former Net. He was involved in the James Harden trade. And Jared Allen goes, man, I miss you. I miss you guys. Like, and I just love that quote just because it just signifies to me, a guy being dealt, and it's in the moment being silly, but just how fun it is right now to be a member of the Brooklyn Nets. Do you see like the NBA Central or ESPN NBA comes out with these standing projections? Do you give a shit on what they say? Because they had the Knicks at 44 and 38, and people are like, that's about right. It's just fun to see it, people's reactions.
Well, I mean, yeah, no, it is. And those, that's the kind of stuff that we always joke about that drives us crazy about the offseason. The random projections that gets everybody crazy or the random comparisons. Like, is RJ Barrett better than this random player on some random team that has nothing to do with the Knicks? Like, I mean, it's just stupid. But yeah, I mean, that's just to generate context, like power rankings in football. It's like, just doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? But it is interesting. 44 and 38. I would be disappointed with that record, but at least that's like a prediction. That's not like, oh, they're going to win 25 games next year. You know what I mean? It's not like they're getting some respect as like, okay, well, they have a solid base. But if you're projected as 44 and 38, you're thinking that RJ doesn't take a step, Mitch doesn't take a step, Quickly doesn't take a step. Like all these guys don't take a step. Like that's what that site is saying, that all three of them don't take a step. And that's probably not going to happen. Somebody's going to take a step. You know what I mean? Somebody. I would have to think law of averages out of those three, somebody's going to get better. they're too young, they're too motivated, their coach is too good. I can't see that not happening. I really think RJ Barrett works his ass off, and him and Julius Randle both work their ass off, and they motivate each other, and they're a really good tandem. And I think that RJ is going to take a step. I don't know about Mitch. Mitch is a little scary to me, but RJ, I think, will take a step.
Well, I think the interesting part is the Eastern Conference is, for the first time in a long time, it's got a lot of talent. And just so people notice, this projections had the Bulls at 40 and 42, which I know is going to be the trendy pick for everybody with their off seasons maneuvers that they made and the talent that they acquired. I just think from the East perspective, it's so much more loaded than it's been in the past. You got the defending champions in the Milwaukee Bucks. You've got a Nets team that has a lot of talent that people are picking to do well. The Sixers, even through all their bullshit, still had the best record in the East last year. The Hawks proved to be a very vital team that could contend for a title, at least Eastern Conference, to get there. We're very close to do so. So that's 4 teams right there. The Miami Heat made a lot of good moves to improve. The Bulls got a little bit better. The Pacers are going to be healthy. The Eastern Conference is going to be a lot more fun than it used to be. I mean, from my end, a different perspective from like my point of view is I think the regular season's a waste of fucking time.
But you don't need it. You don't need it.
That out of love. Like,
you're just ready to get to the playoffs. You're like, my team's gonna be in the playoffs. Who cares? Just get me there. But if you're a Nets fan, you need to shoot for the number 1 seed. Like, enough of this. They're a 3 seed. Who cares? No, get your number 1 seed, get your home court, lock it up, and then rest, because you don't want to be in the playoffs and not having home court advantage. I don't care. The home court helps you win some games in the playoffs, or wills you. Who says it? Is it Shaq? I forgot who says it all the time, that the home crowd, or maybe you say it. Maybe I got this from you. You and Shaq are like the same person. But, like the home team in the playoffs, the reserves play better and the co-stars play better at home in the playoffs. True. I think you said that. It's true.
It is true.
You need that. And the Nets, and what I was confusing is what Shaq always says is that the top stars don't win titles. The guys around them do. They're the ones who hit the big shots. Joe Harris hits that shot. The Nets are in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's plays like that throughout the postseason. You know what I mean? Like, Chris Middleton stepped up. You know what I mean? Chris Middleton's not Joe Harris, but he's better, obviously. But you know what I mean? There was guys that are not. Bobby Portis stepped up. Guys like that step up, and that's why they win championships. That's why guys like James Posey. That's why guys like Robert Horry. That's why guys like that kept getting on teams, and kept Steve Kerr, guys like that kept getting picked up by these championship caliber teams, because they know that they're going to hit the big shot when it mattered, and they needed that guy. You know what I'm saying? So
you're an asshole.
Why? Because you
got to bring up Joe Harris missing all those fucking shots. I know what happened, Alex. You have to tell me.
It just came out. It was not planned. It just kind of happened.
No, I mean, it's true. I mean, I remember that shot. There's that one shot in particular where he missed that wide open 3.
For the people not watching on YouTube, Mike's just got his eyes up at the ceiling. It's like, I remember that one shot. It was just like it was yesterday.
Dude, it was just like it was yesterday. I had Ralph's Pizza. It was so good.
Ralph's Pizza.
Ralph's sausage done very good. Very good.
Okay, so you say Ralph's. I'm from New York. You're in Jersey. I hear Ralph's on Long Island. I think Ralph's Ices. Ralph's Italian Ices. So I had Ralph's Pizza. I'm like, you got ices on your pizza? You know what I mean? That's what I would tell my mind.
No, Ralph's is good. I mean, I'm not, if you want to use this guy as a reference for if it's good pizza or not, but Dave Portnoy, the Barstool Sports Pizza guy, gave it an 8.9, which is very solid.
It's really high. He's very stingy on his grades. Yeah.
It's just good pizza.
This is 6.2. This is what we call 6.2 in the business. Those videos are really entertaining.
We don't have to go into a whole fucking thing about pizza. Anyway, I just remember it because that was the last time I had Ralph's. I'm like been a little hesitant to get the pizza again because I'm a fucking neurotic idiot. But
yeah,
point be told, yeah, you're right. Joe Harris missed those shots. He should have made them. It was annoying he didn't make them. But the good news is, Alex, like I didn't realize this until I saw one of the Nets people tweet this that I'm sure annoys you. Is not this tweet, but just the Nets Twitter in general. Is that like media day is 13 days away, and I just my jaw dropped. It's like we're 2 weeks away from when everybody's wearing their jerseys and walking around, and it's like good vibes. Everybody's like, "Oh, this is great." I was like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to watch this and like stroke my ego." I can't believe it. I assume for the Knicks it's about the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know when it is, but I assume so because preseason is less than 30 days away. for the Knicks. So I assume media day is before that. So, but the big question about media day for the Nets is Kyrie Irving going to talk to people, or is he not going to talk to people?
He's always there. Kyrie's going to talk.
What is he going to talk? Or
I love
is he
Kai.
actually going to talk?
Dude, I love Kyrie Irving. He has grown on me so much. And I know
he's the Kanye West of basketball. This is what Kyrie Irving is.
Whatever you want to say, man. I don't care. I like Kai. Him on the Nets, he's been so great. When he's and yes, when people are on your team, everything changes.
Nothing matters.
It's different.
Yeah.
And he's my guy, and I like it. So you might dislike him, you might dislike his attitude, you might have a problem that he takes days off, and you might this, and this, but he's on my team, and I'm just so into Kyrie Irving because, man, he won me over when he talks about how big of a fan of the New Jersey Nets he was. And if you're a Knicks fan listening to this, that means a lot to me. I mean, that means a lot to hear Kai talking about, I'm going to these net games. That's fucking cool. I like that. And he won me over. And then obviously, I mean, he's an extreme talent. He's so good. It goes without saying. I'm going to defend Kai. I love the dude. It's just time to get it rocking and rolling, man. I'm just so ready for this basketball season.
So you wouldn't trade him for Ben Simmons, is what you're saying?
I would not. I mean, I would say, I will say this to be fair. If you put Joel Embiid in the deal, I'd have to do it.
Of course.
Then I do it.
Of course. But that's fantasy land, NBA 2K trades. That wouldn't be approved even in NBA 2K. I know Ryan Hickey, one of the guests on our show recently, producer of Zach Gelb show.
Which is fine.
Him and Mike got into an argument. Listen to our old episodes. I think it was 80, right? Episode 80. You'll hear the whole argument. Go ahead.
Was it 80? Yeah, 80.
I think it was 80.
Nick Wright on Fox Sports made the same argument. I it drove me nuts, but the part of me was like, I wanted to invite Nick on the show to talk about it because I was just that frustrated with it because the topic in general, it's such a I've never watched the Nets before topic. That's what that is.
You don't follow it. You just look at the headlines. You have no idea. You're not really in the minutia of it. No. Even me, who's not a fan, I follow them enough to know that is impossible. Like that is just not going to happen. Kevin Durant would quit. He'd demand a trade the next day. He'd be like, "Get me out of here." Harden would be like, "All right, I had enough. I'm going to go get fat again," and that'd be the end of it, and nothing would happen. I'd be like, "Are you kidding?" It's
just such a lazy life.
These are people. Like they're go ahead.
Ben Simmons plays defense, and he could help out. Kyrie Irving is similar to James Harden, but if you watch the Nets, they weren't similar at all. They worked well together, but it's easy to just not watch and be like, oh, they have similar skill sets. Why don't I make the deal? And it's just a poser take that's lazy and not watching the games, and it annoys me. Okay, if you want to say, could we deal Kyrie Irving for, like somebody else with I don't know, pick a player. Zion. I mean, even that would be no because of how young he is, and that's in their title window. It's just stupid, and I don't like to see it, and I try not to be bothered by people that have a real powerful platform. But I used to know Nick. He worked at CBS Sports Radio, and I know he's a good dude. I like Nick the person, and I think he's a great guy, but I know what he's doing, and it bothers me. And I know it shouldn't get under my skin, but it does irritate me when I see how much power he has, like Nicki Minaj, not the same thing, making ridiculous tweets that you can just get away with this shit, and there's no one there to check and balance you. Gets me fired up.
Right. No, and Nick Wright seems like a great person, and I'm sure he's like a nice guy. Like Max Kellerman annoys the hell out of me on TV, but I'm sure he's a nice guy. He seems like his morals are correct, and his heart is in the right place.
Sure,
just sold out. Just sold out. Like that's just what it is, and that's fine. You know what I mean? You want your money, and that's who you are, and he admits it, and that's great. Yeah, but now it is what it is. So it's not about these people like personally. It's more about like when you brought up Nick Wright, it's more like, oh my god, that's show that. The cringeworthy news stories of the Knicks and the other players, and they're mocking the Knicks for fans for getting excited about getting to 500. Meanwhile, they were game over 500. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like the little things. Remember that video I found of them on their First Things First show that I posted at Knicks Central. It was just when you're it's like when you're a fan and you watch these national shows, you get frustrated when they don't say the right things because it's so off that you're like, are you kidding? It's why you watch games on MSG or Yes when they're also on TNT, because you want to hear your guys tell you. Sometimes you might flip over, like for me as a Knicks fan, I might flip over to ABC or ESPN because Mike Breen is doing it, and I know he's Mike Breen, and I'm going to hear Jeff Van Gundy, who also follows the Knicks, and Mark Jackson, who's a New Yorker. So like, I know they know the Knicks, you know what I'm saying? But if I flip over and I hear Ryan Rucco and Richard Jefferson doing the Knicks game, and then I got Breen and Clyde over here, I'm going to Breen and Clyde. Like, you know what I'm saying, like, it's just, yeah. So it just is what it is. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So I was wrong about the JJ Redick thing. I was looking at the 2020-2021 Mavs, not the this one. But it's crazy that they have Reggie Bullock, Tim Hardaway Jr., Trey Burke, and Porzingis on their squad. I'm really sad about that Bullock thing that you brought that up, because now that I can see it, I can see Ntilikina dishes it to Porzingis, who dishes out to Reggie Bullock, who it's a big three to beat the Knicks at the Garden, and it's just going to be like, are you kidding me? Because I liked Bullock. I thought Bullock was good key heart and soul, one of the heart and souls of the Knicks last year. He wasn't a great player, but he started all the games. He got in people's faces. He was a good Knick. I would have chose him over Alec Burks, but the Knicks probably thought Alec Burks is like big games that are like, Bullock and Burks, basically the same player. Every now and then they'll have a big game. Most games are going to be quiet, but every now and then they have a big game. But the big games from Alec Burks were bigger than the big games for Reggie Bullock, if that makes any sense. Right. So,
I gotcha.
But we got Fournier now. We got Kemba. So those players are kind of like bench players now anyway. So
no, I did that on purpose to bring it up because I knew you had forgotten about Reggie. I
forgot about it.
And I make it's not Bullock, it's Bullock.
Bullock.
Make sure you say that.
Mike Breen says it's Bullock. It's Bullock. Mike Breen knows. Right. Listen, you don't question Mike Breen.
No, he's one of the greatest at his craft. So
speaking of Clyde, by the way, you heard Clyde's Wine and Dine is closing.
Oh,
they're closing his
The,
restaurant.
Upper West, is it?
Yeah, but not Upper West, but it's on the west side by the Garden. It's like on 8th Avenue, I think, or was. I think it's on 8th Avenue, like right near the Garden, and it's closing. Or is it 9th Avenue? I don't know whatever it is. It's over there, or was, and they're closing it. He sent out a tweet today that it's closing.
It's been great. Casualty or his?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, that's just my guess, but. He tweeted. I'll read the tweet. It's right here because he doesn't tweet much. Obviously, it's not hard to find. He goes, "Thank you for your patronage throughout the years, and to Arc Restaurants for creating Clyde's Wine and Dine. The restaurant is permanently closed. It was wonderful meeting and greeting with you for over 9 years." And then he shouted out a few people like Larry Johnson and Anthony and MSG, et cetera, et cetera. So sad, I don't know if it's COVID casualty because it's kind of late, but. It is what it is.
Yeah, I'd been there a few times. I actually went to watched a net Knick game there once.
Right.
Dan Goldwhite. Yeah.
What's crazy is that
won that game.
The first birthday that I had when I was dating my fiance, because we've been dating 9 years, right? And we were supposed to get married 2.5 years ago. So bear with me here. Like it hasn't been 9 years since I proposed. Okay. So it was a long time, but it wasn't 9 years. But my first birthday that I had with her, she asked me where we wanted to go because we take each other out to dinner. Couples do that. And I was like, honestly, this restaurant, Clyde's Wine and Dine, just opened. So I was like, can
I interrupt you, please? I'm just going. I love how you have to insert references. You're like, we take each other out for dinner here and there. That's what couples do. I think that's implied. I don't
know, man. I don't know what people think.
Listening audience is.
I don't want to offend anybody, man.
Anybody? You're going out to dinner with the one you love. I think the person listening, but who listens to this fucking podcast is going like, yes. When I take out my significant other, whoever it might be, male, female, whatever. Yes, you go out for dinner. I love how you have to explain how that works. By the way, just so you know, when we go out for dinner, it's because we're in love, and we go out for dinner. We like to get an appetizer, a salad, and we like to split an entree. Sometimes we do too if we had a small lunch. Okay, sorry for being an asshole. Continue.
The only thing I remember about going there was that the portions were super tiny, but the shrimp was delicious. That's all I remember from that place. And a couple times I went met up with a friend at the bar there. You know what I mean? But the only time I really sat down for a formal dinner was that time there. So,
yeah.
And Clyde wasn't there, and I was upset. Anyway,
that'd be cool if you saw him. I'm sure he's had appearances in the past.
I met him before once, and when I was like 15, 14. I think I've told the story on the podcast. No, actually, I'm from the Five Towns, and he was on randomly, it's near JFK Airport, right? Lawrence High School is where I went. So on Rockaway Turnpike, there was this auto parts store that was opening, and we saw it in the newspaper. Clyde Frazier will be appearing at this so-and-so auto parts store that's opening. I was like, holy crap. I'm like, Dad, like, he's like, yeah, of course. So we went. I had this Knicks jacket. I got his autograph on the Knicks jacket. He wrote like to Alex, Walt Frazier, and signed it and gave it to me. And like, I still have it. I still have the jacket and that. The jacket was fire. I think I've tweeted it out before, but like, I can never wear that jacket again. Well, I wore it a couple times. Like, oh, look, I got Clyde Frazier's, autograph. And then I was like, all right, I don't want to ruin this. So.
Can you, for your wedding, just come out in that jacket?
Yeah, just come out wearing this jacket from middle school of like Clyde Frazier's autograph. Yeah, I'm like, man. It's fancy. It's got an autograph on it. Like, what? Like, what do you? It's black tie wedding.
That. I don't think I ever went to a player signing, but I one time went to a book signing of Mad Dog, and when he put his book out, I went and got the book signing of it from. I don't know how, probably 15, 16 years old also. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, Mad Dog, just to meet him. That's really cool.
It's so cool to meet Mad Dog. Let's do it. I remember that. Hey, all right, Alex. So NFL over the weekend.
Right.
Giants, Jets locally. The Giants.
Yeah, start with the Giants.
That sucked. But my take on it is, I think the Broncos are going to the Super Bowl. I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to have an MVP season.
Clearly.
And when the Broncos are 14-3, everybody will be like, remember that Bronco loss the Giants had? And we were all criticizing the team. It wasn't that bad of a loss. Nah, probably wishful thinking. I mean, that sucked. That was hard to watch. Third down, fourth down, getting their ass whipped on all those possessions. The Daniel Jones fumble. It was ridiculous. It was painful to watch. It felt like watching a Giants game. And this is a weird note, kind of a sidebar, but I've realized there's a bunch of Net fans that are Giant fans on Twitter. So to see the Net fans who are the most positive, like
cocky,
here's where
rightfully so cocky right now, by the way.
But like defending the Nets and like to the death and everything they do, and seeing like for the most part, anytime a mistake's made by a coach, a player, whatever, there's a defense mechanism to make sure, hey, don't put down the Nets. With the Giants, it was like boom, 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 boom. Saquon, the number 2 pick. What are you doing? 10 carries for 26 yards. This is ridiculous. Daniel Jones with his fumbles. The Giants can't stop anybody on 3rd and 4th down. It was a different mindset, but one that's correct. And I just thought that was fascinating as a sidebar to see the Net fan like that. But that was all very disappointing for the Giants because they look like poo-poo.
Yeah, and, keep saying it on Twitter at Nick Central, Daniel Jones stinks. Like, he just actually stinks. I don't think he's a good quarterback. He's a one read and he's out and it's out. It looks to one side, stares at one receiver and gets it there, or he takes a sack or throws a pick. And like, that's really the end of it. He's a turnover machine. It is what it is. Then you have Saquon Barkley, who's now damaged, might be damaged goods. I don't know yet. It was one game. They were behind. But how good is a running back to have if you're always down? Like, you can't use them. You know what I mean? And you can't. And that's why it was weird to draft them so high. Maybe you didn't want Darnold and then trade down and get Josh Allen. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, there's things you could have done in that draft, but the Giants thought that they were going to compete. They had just signed Odell. They had Eli. They're trying to piece together for Eli. They're trying to get another one because they thought they get another Eli running it, but they didn't. And then they ended up trading Odell. And it just doesn't make the whole organization hasn't made sense in a while. Gettleman shouldn't be able to hire 2 coaches. Did he hire McAdoo, or did McAdoo come before him? Maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm not sure about that. But
I think about that.
Either way, like,
I want to say,
even if he didn't have 2 coaches, it might have been right before. But either way, even if he didn't have 2 coaches, you shouldn't be able to have multiple plans when you're the GM. Your initial plan was piece this together, let's get going and let's win, or break it down, let's draft a quarterback and let's go. Because like, it just doesn't make you're the Jets. You know what I'm saying? You're what the Jets have been, because the Jets have had these GMs, coaches on different tracks, and you're trying to piece together wins with McCagnon. McCagnon comes in, pieces together, gets a 10-6 season. Then they have to break it down and rebuild. Oh, we're tanking. We're trying to tank. We're trying to get Darnold. And they end up getting Darnold. And then Maccagnan hires the wrong coach. If he even was his choice to hire him, I think it was the owner, Christopher Johnson at the time, that really got enamored with Gase. And then what the hell are you? Then you get fired and you don't even see the fruits of your labor. And your fruits of your labor is nothing because the team is still garbage. And it's been 10 years since the playoffs. So Giants followed the Jets blueprint and it's not the right thing to do. So
well,
that's on that now.
I would say this about Daniel Jones, and I think he is. Okay, a couple of things. He was drafted so high that the expectations were put on him to be great, which is fair because if you're going to be that kind of draft pick, you have to be that way. Daniel Jones has shown flashes when he's on the field, like he did in this past week, to make some great plays. He did make great plays. He did make great throws, and he did make great runs. He does have a turnover issue. He does have a fumbling issue. He does have an issue where he's not making reads, where he's going to one-trick pony and looking one way, and that's all he is doing. So that would be the red flag. I think where it gets confusing is he does show signs where he is able to make some fantastic moves and plays. So I think that's kind of scary in a good part where you're like, all right, he's showing progress, but then he reverts back. To say he's a terrible quarterback, I wouldn't say is completely true. I would say that he just hasn't put it all together to be the guy that's going to lead your franchise. And that would scare me. And what really scared me the most, and this clicked in my head about Daniel Jones, because, again, he shows flashes where he can do shit that's really good. I saw Zach Wilson play on Sunday, and I said, I think he's got it. He moves. He makes throws. I think he's going to be an NFL quarterback. I saw stuff from him in that week that Daniel Jones wouldn't do, and that scared me a little bit about DJ. Because I would say this, I really thought what I saw from Zach, I think he's going to be really good. I felt I saw him play and I said, he's going to be a good quarterback. He didn't look like he was scared. He made throws. He got the shit kicked out of him. And I'd be excited if I was a Jet fan about Zach Wilson. And I think that's why, like, week one, the Giants were such a major disappointment that they got their ass handed to them by Pat Shurmur. Meanwhile, the Jets weren't good. By no stretch of the imagination were they good, but you feel like going, okay, we're the Jets. Wilson was okay. The offensive line sucked. The defense held up. Darnold was good, but it wasn't anything spectacular. You feel good about it. Giants, you're just like, fuck, this, we're like rinse and repeat. This shit has got to come to an end.
Yeah, no, and I hear you, and that's exactly what it was for the Jets. I'm not convinced Zach Wilson's the man yet because I was convinced Darnold was the man. I was convinced Geno Smith was the man after that Falcons Monday night game where he won. Like, there's so many like quarterbacks I've been so wrong on. Like, you know what I mean? That I'm waiting. I'm like, all right, you know what? He looks like he's got the ability. He got the crap kicked out of him, like you said. The Jets' offensive line looked absolutely embarrassing by the Panthers. Like, there was a 4th and 1 and 3rd and 1, and the Panthers line obliterated the Jets line and blew up the play in the backfield. And it's just Joe Douglas is supposed to be the offensive line guy. Like, he's supposed to be he's an offensive lineman. He was actually in the movie The Replacements. Did you know that? As one of like the random like players in that of the pros. So like, he's supposed to be that guy. Like, he helped build the Eagles championship team, like one part of the executive staff, a high level executive staff before he got the Jets GM job. So he's supposed to be an offensive line guy. And his offensive line, now we're in, I guess, year 2 sort of for him. They stink. You know what I mean? Like, his second offseason. Yeah. So this is his team, his 3rd year, but his second offseason. And they still stink. Like, I know Vera Tucker's a rookie, like the jury's still out on him, the guard, but they're like, that didn't look good. Like, you know what I mean? That didn't look promising. And they adjusted as the game went on to like help Wilson get time, like make time for him with their plays. But you're down 16-0 late in the 3rd. You know what I mean? Like, what is happening? Like, you weren't doing anything. The run game couldn't get going. Nothing could happen. Becton gets hurt and he's gone, but he wasn't doing anything anyway. So now you have George Fant on your left tackle, and he didn't even win the right tackle job to Morgan Moses, who was traded, was acquired by the Jets in the middle of camp. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, now what the hell are you? You have the rookie guard and you have these guys. Like, what is, like, it's a mess. It's a mess, and it sucks because the kid's gonna get beat up. But like you said, he took a beating. There was even that one play where he got absolutely like crushed. His head hit the ground. Tiki on the broadcast even said they might have to check him for concussion protocols because his head really took a beating. But he got up and he was fine. And a few plays later, throws a touchdown pass to Corey Davis, and it's just like, okay, kid, like, you know what I mean? All right, like you're kind of like, all right, and that's the difference with the Jets and the Giants. This is year one for this coach and this quarterback. So like, and the offense coordinators, LaFleur is a rookie coordinator as well. It's like, all right, we're all going to try to figure this out together. Like Darnold had a good first half, but a lot of his plays were like based on that one touchdown pass to Robbie Anderson and the little dink and dunks, and here and there Moore was getting them. But like, was he really that impressed? He was all right. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to root for him, but he was all right. He's not like, didn't do anything crazy. You know, I'm just, I don't know.
No. The Daniel Jones is just, it's like when he got the guy, he can make the pass, but does he have in between the ears to look around the field and make the plays that need to be made? And week one was an indication that he does not. And then you add that on with the fumble issue and you're feeling like shit. I do want to tell you that I have a Morgan Moses story for you, which I did not think you were going to say. Morgan Moses went to the University of Virginia, and when Chris Long was drafted in the NFL, Morgan Moses was still at the University of Virginia. And I was working at the University of Virginia at the time doing different work, and somebody invited me to a draft party, and I sat at this draft party, and I made chicken wings with Morgan Moses, and then we ate chicken wings together and watched the draft. That's awesome. Morgan Moses story.
Try to get him on then, man. Be like, hey, man, we ate chicken wings together.
Jeez, I don't think he remembers that. It was 15 fucking years ago or whatever.
Like, yo, I'm Mike, and we had chicken wings. How do you not remember me? I'm the most generic name ever, and we ate the most generic food ever. Like, how do you not remember me?
I will say he was humongous.
I can imagine.
This is a big dude. He was huge, dude. He was.
Trust me, I know. I actually went to high school with I don't know if you remember. He was a Giant for a hot second. Shane Olivier, the offensive lineman, and he would play for the Chargers. He went to my high school. Well, he actually went to Long Beach, and then he went to Lawrence for like a senior year. So he kind of went to high school. But I happened to be in my guidance counselor's office, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, like Shane was there. Everyone knew he was a big star. He was going to go. You know, we knew. Like he came to Lawrence because we had a better football team than Long Beach, so that's why he came there. So he walks in as I'm in the office. He walks in and goes, "Hey, just want to let you know, I decided to go to Ohio State." And I just turn around, and just like, dude, I'm just like, wow. I'm like, you're going pro. Like, I'm like sitting there like this diehard football fans in the office, just with this like little like whatever kid like in high school, and I was just like, dude, you're like 300 pounds already. Like, what's happening? Like, I was just like, holy crap! Like, I was there for that moment with this guidance counselor. It's pretty funny, but I get it. Those guys are tremendous. Those are the only offensive linemen that I've actually been around like in person.
Yeah, so. It's just big human beings.
Yeah,
just gigantic human beings.
Yeah, you can't do anything else in life besides that and eat chicken wings, and that's it. So
we're just
isn't that great? I know offensive linemen now are way more fit than they used to be in the 90s, where you have Nate Newton who looked like a freaking bowling ball walking, you know, but these guys are actually fit at 315 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they're not just like, you know, fat anymore, but.
Well, it's wild to see all these offensive linemen that once they retire, they slim down and they lose 100 plus pounds.
Sean O'Hara, right? I think he did that.
Sean O'Hara's done it.
Yeah.
Who was it? Just recently retired. The really great offensive lineman for the Cleveland Browns did it. Who's now on the NFL Network? Joe Thomas did it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's so many guys did like once.
Kevin Mawai, I think looks a little slimmer too. I saw him recently. Kevin Mawai.
I believe you. They just they want to get more of a healthy lifestyle and not be 6'6", 310. Be more like 6'6", 242.
Right.
To have because it's healthier.
Healthier. It's better on your joints too. Yeah, it's better on your joints. Yeah. You got your millions, you're retired, you're good.
Exactly.
Let's just do it. Yeah. So
exactly.
It is what it is. You want to talk anything about the Mets and the Yankees or the whistling or this? It's kind of boring.
No.
The Yankees are a little hypocritical with the whistling. You know what I mean? It's cheating, just like the Astros cheated. That's all I have to say. We'll talk about them another time. Nobody cares. And the Mets suck.
The Mets are down 7-5 in the 11th of the Cardinals. They're over. We'll see what they do next year. It's just done. It's done.
It's just done. You're just trying to get teased if you're getting back into the Mets. Like, I love the Mets, but I gave up. Once I got back into it. I gave up a while ago, but then once I got back into it a little bit after the Baez thing happened and they swept that doubleheader. But the next morning when the GM has a DWI, I'm just like, goodbye. Like I can't deal with this anymore. I'll pay attention to you. I'll watch, but I'm not getting sucked in anymore. I'm not getting my hopes up.
I mean, the truth with the Mets is they're just a 500 baseball team. So what happens is the highs are high and the lows are low, and then they average out where the Mets are going to win 80 to 82 games. That's what they are.
They're without DeGrom. I mean, that's a big deal. Them. Yeah, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal. If they have DeGrom, I would say they probably win 3 to 5 more games. I'll go out on a limb and say that. And if they win 3 to 5 more games, they're in the mix for all this shit. But at the same time, you're talking to a Net fan, especially in baseball, where it's a little bit different because it's not so many teams make the playoffs. If you're going to lose, that's part of the game. You know, nobody talks about the San Francisco Giants because they're just all business. They go out there, they take care of things, and they win games. They don't have the superstars maybe that other teams have, but they're scrappy. They pitch well, they play good defense, and they get timely hits, and they win baseball games, and nobody talks about them. The Mets, all or nothing, home runs. They don't, they make bonehead plays. They're all over the place, and they have injuries, and this is what you get. And they long term, it sucks short term with DeGrom, but long term, you got to be thinking, if this guy can't play baseball like this, he's got to change the way he plays. Maybe you don't throw the ball 101 miles per hour and it's 94 to 96. But if it means you're out there on the field for 10 more games, like there's got to be some sort of change because the Mets need DeGrom. They can't do it without him. They got to figure out a way to. The two of these sides have to get together and say, all right, DeGrom, you got the good contract. Mets, we need you. Like, let's make this work. We can't be missing this many games or else they have no chance.
No, it's true. And then I can already hear the Twitter trolls or the people listening to this be like, well, the Mets never win with DeGrom anyway. So what does it matter? Like, okay, so yeah, we don't need DeGrom because the record with DeGrom isn't so great. Like, just stop. You know what I mean? So it's just wanted to nip that in the butt or that escalates.
Well, nip it real fast.
It's nipped.
That's all I wanted to say about baseball.
Consider it nipped.
You want to, I want to get to your poll question and then I want to kick the shit out of Dolan J. Trump again.
Yeah, man. Okay. So every week I do a Knicks poll question on my Twitter page at Knicks Central, and we read some fan responses on the podcast. So Knicks fans, bear with me on this topic because there really is nothing to talk about right now. It's the same questions over and over. It would have been about Frank Ntilikina if it came out earlier. But anyway, so Knicks fans, who is your starting 5? Comment why or provide one not listed. So we have Kemba, Fournier, RJ, JR, Mitch, Derrick Rose, Kemba, RJ, JR is Julius Randle, and Mitch, Kemba, Fournier, RJ, Julius Randle, and Noel, Derrick Rose, Fournier, RJ, JR, and Mitchell Robinson. Who do you think is their starting 5?
Now, I don't remember the order that you said it, but if I had to pick my starting 5, it would be I'd go Kemba Walker.
Yes. Can you do it like the Knicks play-by-play PA announcer? Do it like the Knicks PA announcer.
No.
At point guard.
I'm not going to do that. No. I'd rather no. I'm not going to say it. No.
Don't say it.
No.
Don't get fired.
And now, fuck you. All right, I would go Kemba, RJ, Mitch at 5. Well, what are the Fournier Julius. and then the Kentucky forward? Yeah.
So you have Kemba, Fournier, RJ,
whatever
Julius
the
Randle,
2-3 is. I don't know. You know that better.
Yeah, who knows which one is which? It's the positions are subjective.
Yeah. So Fournier, Richard Jefferson, J.R. Kemba
Smith,
Walker, and Mitch, and then the Kentucky forward. Yeah,
I gotcha. Yeah, no, that one. Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson.
That's my
by a landslide. Yeah, that's the best starting 5. Though that was 89.6%. This came in second was Kemba, Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Nerlens Noel starting at center. So some people are high on Nerlens because of the playoffs, and
he played great.
Mitch's health, and Mitch played had some of his best games of his career coming off the bench a couple years ago.
Okay,
but I think at this point in his career, it's time to start. It's time to put the big boy pants on. It's time to stay healthy. It's time to get it done. Like, this is your year. This is your contract year. Get it done. You know what I mean? You want to get that big contract. You're getting paid nothing this year in NBA standards. Get it done. It's time. So that was kind of it's a weird poll question because, like I said, there's not much to really talk about. Frank Ntilikina would have been a good topic because people love him for some reason, but I'm over the Ntilikina stuff. So anyway, some fan shout outs. Let's see. So we have our boy, big listener on the show, Jamal Dean. He's at once a Knicks fan. Kemba starting over Rose, mostly because I love Rose and Quick and Obi in that second unit together. Wouldn't be mad if Tibbs starts Rose, though. That makes sense. Then we have Jason Francis. He's at S Media Sam. I think it is at S Media Samurai. Sorry, it was cut off. I apologize. Lineup 1 is who we really need to see, the one that we talked about, sidebar. Then Barrett and Randall with the new additions and Mitch showing he's healthy. Everything else feeds off that. Then we have Brian Mack. He's at MCELWAINYO. Option A is the way to go, in my opinion. A second unit of Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickly, Alec Burks, Obi Toppin, and Nerlens Noel. Let's go. That is a pretty good second unit. You know what I mean? You got to say, like, starting five isn't the best starting five in the NBA. I'm not going to even say that it's close, but that second unit is pretty damn stacked. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you have the rookies, maybe one of the rookies steps up like McBride or Grimes, you know what I mean? Becomes a player.
Much better depth. Yes.
Yeah. It's nice to have depth and nice to have players that all want to be there as well. Then we have our boy Boodalicious at Boodalicious. He goes, we all know it's going to be KEEFRJJRNN once MR inevitably gets hurt. So KE, I think he meant to say Kemba Walker. That's what threw me off. I was like, who's KE? So Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Nerlens Noel. So that's what he thinks it's going to be because Mitchell Robinson's going to get hurt. That's his point, which if you had to bet on it, it's not a bad bet, which is sad. I don't want him to get hurt, but it is what happens. So we have at Fronda, but the O is a 0. We have FR0NDA. After what Noel did last season without Mitch, he's clearly a consistent defensive anchor. With Rose, IQ, Burks, and Mitch off the bench, it'll be one of the better second units in the league. Tibbs probably split Mitch Noel time evenly anyway. Oh, like he will probably split their time evenly anyway. I don't know if they'll split their time evenly. If Mitch is dominating, he's going to play more. I think Noel can play either the 4 or the 5, so it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just get the guys in there and let them play. Obi can play the flex and just let's go. You know what I mean? It's time for everybody to step up. Let's see. You want to do one more? So we have Steve. He's at Stevie Nicks 718. I'd like to think anyone who chooses anything but A, it's because they have fat thumbs. So it's a good point. That's it. I'm going to be done reading because I think it's just all the same thing. Let's see one more. Neil is at Neil Kond. I would start Kemba, but would try and split his time with Rose 50-50 and same with Robinson and Noel. So people are big on the splits. I think Kemba Rose is the more likely split. I think Mitch is more likely to get more time than Noel. Okay, that's the podcast for this week's episode of Bad Weather Fans. Next, we have to do the jersey number trivia. We used to do the trivia based on the number, but now we're in 81 or 82? 82. Episode 81. 82? And there's no 82. So we used to test, like I would ask Mike who's the number 22. I'd pick a random one and whatever. Now we're at 82. So who knows? So our friend Dolan J. Trump sponsors this section of the segment, not section. See, I can't talk, man. This is your job. You got to do this part. Yeah. You gotta set it up. I'm not the setter upper guy.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't disagree with that. But
no, I'm kidding. I'm just really tired.
Fan for you. No. Sorry, all right,
guys.
here we go.
I'm
so
exhausted.
We're doing the.
I had a rough night. Yeah, go ahead.
We're doing the jersey number trivia. Dolan J. Trump is our friend. As our fan, he is a friend. So I can't do it either. He buys merch. He's a former. He makes it a point. You'll hear his questions. He wants you to know that he's a Knicks fan. He used to be a Nets fan. He won't admit that now because he's embarrassed by it. But the truth is, he's been here. Here's fact. Dolan J. Trump's a Knicks fan, but the truth is, he's been a Net fan longer. And he can tweet, he can text, he can write it, but that's the truth. He's got a binder of Nets cards. So if you're a Knicks fan, would you have a binder filled with Nets cards? Fuck, I'd hope not. Let's go to the trivia. I'll
I
read
remember
first.
I posted my jersey collection. I have a lot of Knicks jersey accumulated over my entire life, and I'm 36. And he was like, "Whoa, that's your Knicks collection?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a lifelong Knicks fan. That's the kind of jerseys I have." But yeah, go ahead. Anyway,
Are you ready? Here we go.
Me first. Okay.
I'll read it first. He wore number 33 for the New York Knicks and went to Georgetown. People have sounded awkward that he ended his career with both the Sonics and the Magic. He's now the head coach of Georgetown basketball.
Yes.
You want more clues? I'll give you more
Patrick
clues.
Is that
He
Patrick
played on a
Ewing?
team that had John Starks, Anthony Mason, and Charles Oakley.
Are we still
His
doing this
name
joke?
rhymes with Ratrick Wooing.
Patrick Ewing.
You got it. I'm ready.
Okay.
He made it easy for you this week. He wore number
give me the
6 during the 2005 season. His only season with Dolan J. Trump's favorite team.
Wait. So
The
number 6, 2000 what?
5.
Number 6, 2005 season.
His only season.
Landry Fields.
No.
No,
His
that
only
was stupid.
season
That
with
was stupid. That was
Dolan
way
J.
later.
Trump's favorite team, the Knicks, which is not true. During the 2005 season, Dolan J. Trump liked the New Jersey Nets. That's not factual. I'm going to call him out here. I love that he's doing this trivia, but that is not the case. Dolan grew up a Nets fan. He got upset about what the Nets did to him. He became a Knicks fan. This is a lie. Just like other people lie, he's lying. I'll read his trivia, but he is lying.
Okay.
Let's start from the top. Lying. This is a lie.
Okay, he's a liar. Let's start from the top. Number 6, what year again? 04?
2005.
2005. Okay. Keep going. I don't know.
He started 16 games and averaged just under 7 points for the season at the small forward position.
Okay, keep going.
Now the clue that Mike would get the question, possibly. His career lasted only 4 seasons after being selected 21st overall by the Portland Trailblazers in 2002 draft.
Dan Dickau?
No, that was Oregon. No. Well, he never gave the school.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Number 6, Portland. So I'm guessing he came over in the Zach Randolph trade. We already did Fred Jones.
As a member of the Miami Heat, he was dealt as a 5-part team blockbuster that featured the likes of Antoine Walker, James Posey, Jason Williams, Jason, Eddie Jones, Rasul Butler, and many others.
Yeah, that doesn't help. So he was on Portland, and then he was on the Knicks.
I don't know if he was on them, but he was selected by them.
Number 6.
Number 21.
Didn't you say number 6?
I said he was selected 21st.
No, number 6. Like his number was 6.
Oh, his jersey number 6.
Yeah,
yes, he was selected 21st. Yes.
I was about to pull my hair out. Like what? Okay,
you can go back to the Ewing one if that helps you.
Yeah, no, number 6, 2005. That was such a tough era to figure out players because there were so many players in and out.
2002.
You said 2005.
He was selected in 2002.
Okay, so he's selected in 2002 by the Blazers. He was on the Knicks in 2005.
Who's on first? Want one more clue?
Yeah, go for it.
Despite attending Northeast Mississippi Community College, he was considered an intriguing prospect with, get this, tremendous athleticism. This was a really hard. He did good.
Not for a Nets fan.
Honestly, for a Nets fan, he did really good here with the Knicks.
Number
trivia.
6. And he started 14 games. What position was he again? Small forward, you said?
Correct.
I don't know. I'm stumped.
Quintel Woods.
Oh man, come on. Yeah, no, I would have never gotten that.
That was good. I'd never
That
heard
was
of
tough.
him.
I remember him, but I would have never. That was just a name that's totally out of my brain.
Yeah.
Because it started 14 games. I'm thinking like, okay,
That's
but
tough. That was a good job by
that
the
was a
net
tough
fan.
one.
That was a good job.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got to go to bench warmers in order to catch us. That's the only way he's going to catch us
Catch
from
you.
guys on the bench. You won't get this one. Okay.
He said it was easy in text. He was tricky. He was lying.
He was lying because
He's a
I
liar.
don't even know who this person is. So the Nets player wore number 0 in 2010, but switched to number 1 during the 2011-2012 season.
He likes to do this switcheroo thing.
I know the switching one is very confusing.
Okay.
He's trying to keep us guessing.
What year?
So he's number 0 in 2010 and number 1 in 2011,
So you went to the era.
2012.
Which is fine.
Yeah. So his NBA career lasted 3 years, and he played for 4 teams: the Nets, Raptors, Jazz, and Timberwolves.
Keep going.
He started 12 games during his second season with the Nets and averaged roughly 9 points and 3 assists.
Not bad numbers. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's just like, but these stats and
No, the stats don't help.
how many games they started doesn't help. You know what I mean? It's just kind of it's just noise.
Those are waste categories.
Because who's like, oh yeah, I remember that random player averaged 7 points. If you would have said 6, I would have thought of this other guy. No.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
after starring at Archbishop Malloy in Queens, he attended Jarvis Hayes' alma mater, but went undrafted in 2008.
Okay, so now we're talking. He went to Georgia. I know that. 2008 Georgia, number 1. Okay, now we're making some progress.
That's it. Those are all the clues.
Fuck. Okay.
He's also giving less clues lately. He used to give us more.
2008 drafted, went to Georgia, played a couple of years. It was on the Nets in 2010. So 2010, I was a junior I was long gone. No, was I? Yeah, I was in Charlottesville, 2010, Georgia, number 1.
And then number 0 and then number 1.
Was it 00 or just 0?
It just says 0.
Okay. All right. Went to Georgia, number 1. I don't know.
Sundiata Gaines.
Yeah, that's who it is. He's right. I didn't know his number, but I know who that is. Good job. You got me.
Yeah.
Hey, it takes a net fan to get a net fan. I'll say that.
Yeah. NBA News, Shams tweeted, Dante Exum has signed the Rockets. Big deal. But what is happening with John Wall is the question. But we'll see. You think he'll actually sit him out and he'll just collect his money? And
he'll be on somewhere. But is he good anymore? Is he shy?
I think he played okay when he played this year, but it's just he's not John Wall anymore. You know what I mean? It's just
no, but he could definitely help a team win a championship. I would say that. Yeah, I mean, if he goes to like here's a team I think he would make an impact for and help. I don't know how they would get him, but I think he'd be a nice fit there. You ready? The Sixers.
The Nets. Oh, the Sixers.
Not the Nets. They're like the Sixers.
No, yeah, because then
sense
he can come in and help out at the point and whatever. Yeah, no,
and he's got a little more of a jumper. He's a true point guard. Like John Wall and the Sixers makes sense to me as somebody that could really help out. I think out of all the teams in the East, like that would be a place he could go to. It makes sense.
Yeah, and
damn it, the Georgia clue.
Yeah, Sundiata and Quintel Woods, man, that's tough. That's tough. He's going to the end of the bench guys. The guy who comes in and plays and when the season's over or no one's paying attention. See, that's tough.
Screw you, net fan.
Can't get us. Last week we got it in the first topic, the first question. Both of us.
He's going to my weakness. Like he's not going to get me in that era. It's just not. Mm-hmm. He knows it too. He'll never admit it, and he'll go on Twitter and do his Trump thing, but he'll never get me. He knows it. He can't admit it, and I don't expect him to admit it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm his daddy.
Yeah, and it's also tough for me for that time frame for Knicks basketball, because in that time it was either Scott Layden or Isaiah Thomas. They were just constant turnover of the roster, constant changing. Isaiah Thomas would make a trade every 3 days. I know Quintel Woods might have been right before Isaiah's time, but It was it was constant trades. Matumbo was there, and like these random guys, like you wouldn't even realize were Knicks.
Penny,
Penny Hardaway, Mo Taylor, like just random dudes. And
Mo Taylor
in and out. There were Nazir Muhammad. There were guys there for like 5 minutes and gone. Like, oh, we're gonna develop this guy. Like, 20 games net. Screw this guy. Trade him. We gotta, add more salary. Anyway, that's the podcast.
This has been episode number 80, 81, or 82. We lost track, but have some fun. Appreciate
82.
you guys listening. Check this out. We have some exciting news too that I should have mentioned. We'll put it at the end, but we will tweet this out on Twitter and we'll make it a bigger deal on the social media. We are doing a fantasy football, daily fantasy where you can go up ahead against us one-on-one. We want to have the fans involved. Here's the idea. Alex, Mike, and then a fan involved. And that fan group will be the standing. So each week a different fan will come on and try to defeat us. We'll try to grow it. We'll try to bring it on, and we'll have a lot of fun with it. We want to invite you to it. What we'll do is we will add links in Twitter. Alex and I will tweet these out where you can get this content. So be on the lookout for that. This has been Bad Weather Fans. Subscribe, download, find us if you're on YouTube. Give the thumbs up. We love that shit. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for coming to this podcast. And don't forget, Kevin Durant's a net. Alex?
He is. And please download the podcast. Download, then delete. Download, listen, delete.
Don't delete.
Thank you for listening. No, don't delete. Just keep it on your phone forever. All right. See ya.
Bye.